Now we are in a position to discuss about network related programming in Java. So, basically the idea of the networking is useful to do certain what is called the programming, so that the communication between two users can be achieved. So, here we have to cover how this network related programming can be done, what are the different supports that those are available in Java networking, we will discuss. Before going to actual networking related programming, we have to have certain familiarity related to the network related terminologies, and then we will discuss those things. Then these are the things that is required to understand the next discussion. So, we will quickly cover the basic concepts of networking and then finally the Java. Now, you know exactly what is the process of network. It is basically is a process of communication between the two computers, we can say, and they can communicate by this if they are connected through network actually communication channel, right. They can communicate, they can share the files, they can talk to each others and like this one. So, these are the things it is there, and the networking is an issue because as the time passing on, the number of users are more, those are connected in the network, and it becomes really very complex and complicated how these programming issues can be handled. And this is why it has been evolved many ideas that how this networking can be done. The many tools, the many what is called the environments are available, out of which Java gives a very good one system, which basically allows you to write your own program, and using this program you can communicate to any parties actually. So, this is basically the basic idea about the Java networking. Now, I will just quickly recapitulate the different terminology, those are relevant to the networking related issues are there, and probably you know all those terminology. I will just quickly touch them. So, like LAN, MAN, WAN, www, IP address, port number, URL, then MAC address and sockets, because all those things will be referred into our Java based network programming concept is there. Now, so far the local area network is concerned, is basically the network is a connection of computers, of course, but this is called a local network if the network spans within say maximum 1 to 10 kilometers within the range. So, usually it is basically in a campus or even a large building, then the network that needs to be carried out is called the local area network, it is simply called the LAN. On the other hand, medium area network is a little bit larger than this one, this span is usually 10 to 40 kilometers. So, if you have to carry out certain communication within the city, say suppose, or in a metropolitan area, then it is called the metropolitan area network, that is why it is called the metropolitan area network, or sometimes medium area network also we can say. And example is that cable TV connection or cable internet connection, all these things are basically an example of metropolitan area network. On the other hand, wide area network, if the network what is called the connectivity extends up to a state or even the entire country, then it is called the wide area network, and the span is basically 40 kilometers and above. So, usually internet is a good example of the public worldwide area network. There may be public network, there may be private network. Private network is limited to among the peer to peer communications only. On the other hand, public means anybody can be connected and then they can share them, they can use this one. Now, www, as you have heard about it, it is basically popularly called the W3 or simply wave, is a world wide wave. Is a wave means it is just like a net actually, we can say, which basically spread, and the world wide wave is basically related to internet also, because internet is a part of the world wide. So, what is the world wide wave? Actually, it is a collection of huge what is called the documents which are spread over the entire what is called the network, or we can more precisely call the internet. So, sometimes world wide web is also called network of networks. That means, there are a lot of networks which are connected to each others is called that World Wide Web. And related to World Wide Web, there are many keywords which has been evolved and past say 50 years or so, which we have mentioned, like browsers, the search engine, the content, hypertext documents, the computer networks, and so many things are there. All those things evolved not in a day, of course, gradually, and today basically we see exactly what is the World Wide Web today. And today World Wide Web is basically indispensable in our day to day activities. Now, so far the different computer connectivities are concerned, every computer should be uniquely identified. There should be some numbers for that, and that is why the W3 consortium, they proposed one mechanism, it is called the IP address concept. So, it is basically IP stands for Internet Protocol. So, IP address usually is a 4-byte address segmented into 8 byte each, and then the last 8 byte is basically host ID. That means, if one computer is connected to a network and that network may have its own ID, usually that is decided by the first 3 bytes, the last byte is for the computer which is connected to this network. So, it is basically, as it is a 8 byte use, so each byte value, if you express it, is basically in the range 0 to 255. As an example, 192.168.0 is the basically one network ID, and then dot 1 is basically the host ID, means ID of a computer. So, this address is not exactly the physical address, logical address. Logical address in the sense that whenever one user wants to connect to a network, he or she should approach to the network administrator, the network administrator will assign one ID, whether it is a network service provider or your network administrator in your organization, whatever it is there. So, this is IP address, and in addition to this IP address, there is also another identity is required, it is called the port number. So, port number related to particular an application. So, whenever you run one program, whether it is a Gmail program or it is a browser program or whatever it is there, so it is basically treated as an application. So, every application should be uniquely identified. Usually it is that identification by means of, it is called the port number. So, usually port number is related to the machine itself. So, every machine is given a unique port number, and together the IP address and port number actually called the socket address. So, socket address is nothing but it is an address of an application. And then there is also the concept of URL. Probably we familiar to an example of URL like www.google.com. So, this is the one example of URL. It is the full form is Uniform Resource Locator. Now, here it is basically one idea about by which a particular what is called the document, we can say the hypertext document like, or a particular server can be identified. Is basically if we have this URL, then we will be able to quickly locate a computer where it is located. And for this location, as you see, there are many parts are involved. One is called the domain name, and the domain name has the 3 components, is basically connected to which computer. For example, www, this means is connected to web, that means internet, and dot example is basically the name of the server where that particular file or document is located, and .com is the name of the organization, and that means it is basically .com, or is basically say .in, that means it is connected to India, or .au Australia, or .ua USA, these kind of things are there, .uk United Kingdom, like this one. So, the different country has the different what is called the extension of this domain name, and then private organization .com is basically for all commercial web documents related, and like this one, .org for educational institution, .edu also other educational institution like. So, these are the different organized wise the naming is there. Anyway, in addition to this, so this is basically called the location of a particular file, and there is also another is called the protocol. So, which protocol that it should use in order to access that document, it is specified by that one. For example, HTTP, it is basically protocol. So, it is basically HTTP protocol, and then followed by the resource name. Resource name is basically www.example.com, for example, in this case is basically both together includes the URL. So, there are different instead of protocol, here we have used example one protocol HTTP, there may be FTTP or FTP or SMTP like this. So, different protocol is followed. We will discuss about the different protocol shortly. And then MAC address is basically another physical address, whereas the IP address is a logical. So, it is physical address means whenever you purchase a computer, the manufacturer assigns one unique number to this computer, and this address is called the MAC address. The full form of this is Media Access Control Address, and this is also a unique for every machine whichever it is manufactured in till time has the unique number. So, this MAC address is specified by 48 bits number, again each or 8 there are 6 8 bytes segmentation, which is basically usually expressed in a hexadecimal number like. So, usually MAC address, for example, I have given the MAC address of this one. So, MAC address is also required again to identify uniquely a location of a particular machine. And then socket, as the socket is basically is an application program, a software you can say, is a port we can say, which basically used for the communication, is basically is an application program which is responsible for connecting two endpoints. So, if you want to connect two computers in a network, this means that connection can be controlled by means of two programs at the two ends. So, two computer which should run two programs, they are called the socket programs. As you know, the socket is basically connected to a computer. So, every socket should be uniquely identified, and that for this the IP address in combination with the port number both together called the socket address. For example, as you see, the socket address of this machine is 10.14.90.85 and the port number is 27017 like. So, including these two things basically combine the socket address, and therefore, socket is not a hardware device, it is basically a software. And now, let us come to the communication protocol. There are many communication protocols has been proposed so far, people you are using like say UDP protocol, it is the called connectionless protocol, whereas the TCP is very popular one protocol, transmission control protocol is called the connection oriented protocol, and there is another protocol which is connection oriented as well as connectionless, it is called the TCP IP. In fact, IP is the one protocol just like a UDP, it is called the connectionless protocol. So, TCP IP is a combination of both the thing, and FTP is the protocol which is basically used for transferring the file from one machine to another, and HTTP is the file to accessing web documents like say HTML page like, and it is the full form of hypertext transfer protocol, and HTTPS is the one advanced version, is basically hypertext transfer protocol will follow the simple document transmission, whereas the HTTPS follows the secure document transmission. As the security is there, is basically security is enforced by means of some encryption and decryption, and SMTP is also just like a HTTP, it is, but it is related to only application for the mail transfer. So, if you want to communicate your peers using mail and everything, so usually you follow SMTP, for which you have to follow one mail server. So, mail server usually follow SMTP. Now, here is again connectionless and connection oriented, the two protocols by name you can understand that if it is a connection oriented protocol means before the communication there should be the connection between the two computers should be established. So, that is the one idea, and there is a mechanism by which the communication or connection can be established prior to the communication begin. So, that is called the communication oriented protocol. On the other hand, connectionless protocol means if the two party wants to communicate themselves, they do not require any prior prior connection to be established, they simply start sending their documents. Now, it is just like a sender sending a letter to his friend, how he can send, you just simply write the postal address of the friend and then drop it to the post box, and then there is a postal service is there, they will channelize this letter into the particular friend like. So, it is the procedure, it is called the connectionless protocol. Anyway, so these are the protocol, and more interesting fact is that Java supports any one protocol whatever we have mentioned, whether it is a UDP or TCP, TCP IP or HTTP, HTTPS, absolutely not the issues there. And so, these are connectionless and connection oriented protocol as we have discussed about, and then TCP/IP is also one protocol which is basically more reliable as well as fast. Usually connectionless protocol is not reliable, however it is fast, whereas connection oriented protocol is highly reliable, but it is not so fast. On the other hand, TCP/IP is a combination of the both connectionless and connection oriented protocol, which is reliable as well as very fast. Now, FTP protocol is for the transferring file, and HTTP is also transferring the hypertext document. For example, say document is an HTML page with hosted some script, PHP, JavaScript, or even applet like this one. So, this basically how these files, the documents can be can be from one server, can be brought to a browser machine, maybe say your local machine, and so on so on. So, this is the protocol that it follows. SMTP is for transferring the file document, and there is obviously some salient points between HTTP, FTP and SMTP. I have listed all these points here for the summarization of all these aspects. You can take your own time to go through this and then you can understand it. Now, I will come to the Java networking, which is more important things to understand at the moment. And for the Java networking, there are many ways actually, and all the things can be categorized into two categories. They basically call the stream class and then the datagram sockets, or stream sockets and datagram sockets. As you know, socket means a program actually. So, the program should be written in Java language. So, there are two ways the program can be written. One way is called the concept using stream sockets, and another way is considering the datagram sockets. So, actually these are the two different programs if we use the two different classes for communications among the two parties. Now, so far the stream sockets is concerned, it basically related to the connection oriented service like say TCP. So, according to these sockets, it basically first establishes a connection between the two communicating parties, and then whenever the connection is established, then they will start streaming the data from one machine to another as a continuous. That is why it is called the stream sockets. And here, as I already told you, this is a connection oriented protocol, that means TCP is followed here. On the other hand, datagram sockets is another way of sending communicating between the two parties. It is based on the connectionless protocol. Here actually what is that the entire documents or the content that needs to be channelized, needs to be sent from one end to another, is basically divided into small parts. Each part is called the packets, or more precisely it is called the datagram. A datagram is just like a packets, like a packet consists of maybe say 64 bytes or is 1024 bytes. The network administrator can decide that what should be the size, but the standard size is 64 bytes like. So, it is smaller bytes packets are created. So, entire documents, if it is say 1 MB, it will be fragmented into 64 bytes each, and then it starts sending 1 bytes at each. And then whenever a packet is there or a datagram packet, it should include who is the sender and who is the receiver, all address, everything is there. Now, it starts sending, start dropping this packet into the network, and then the network controller is there, which will basically decide that whether if this packet is available to him, then to which direction he should forward this packet, so that ultimately it will reach to the destination point. So, this is the idea about this one, and this protocol popularly called UDP, User Datagram Protocol. So, these are the two protocols that is follows here, and again there is obviously some comparisons between the TCP versus UDP. The basic way is that TCP is connectionless, whereas the UDP connection oriented, whereas the UDP is connectionless, and there are some other more intricate differences are there, which has been listed here. Again I advise you to just go through all the points and try to understand that is the difference is there, but at the moment all those differences are not so much important so far our network programming is concerned. Now, I will come to the discussion on what are the different classes, so that we can utilize, because you know Java is object oriented programming. So, for implementation of anything we have to rely on the different classes. So, I will just discuss what are the different classes which basically you should learn, so that you can find yourself comfortable with the network related programming with Java. Now, here there are few classes related to the connection and then identifying a connection like. So, we have listed here like URL is a class. URL connection is also another class, and then HTTP URL connection is another class, INET address is class. We will quickly go through the different class, their compositions, and then their utilization and everything, also illustration. And then, so these are the different classes by which the connections related informations can be maintained or can be controlled. And then regarding these connections and then making the communications actually, so that means sending and receiving and everything, it has been followed by few more classes like datagram sockets, server socket, and then socket. Now, datagram socket is basically the concept that followed is the datagram streaming, that means for UDP protocol like, whereas server socket and socket is basically for the TCP related protocol, that means connection oriented protocol like. So, server socket is basically whenever you have to make one machine as a server, and then socket is basically for making some machines as a client. So, it is basically for client server computing or distributed computing like. Anyway, we will discuss the different concept of all the classes, that is basically very much essential here related to Java networking program. Anyway, all these classes definitely, as the Java is very organized one system, they are defined in a package. The package which basically used for this is java.net.package. Java.net.package is basically the package meant for including all these classes where user can get it and then you can use it. Now, I will first discuss each one class one by one, followed by some illustration, so that you can understand the concept that what are these classes, has these facilities, and in what occasion which class should be used like this. So, the class URL, and we have already mentioned that what exactly an URL look like. So, URL first point is that which protocol that it follows. For example, in this example as you see, there are two parts in this URL. The HTTPS is the protocol that it should follows, and then followed by the what is called the resource location. This resource location is basically nptel.ac.in/course.php. This means that in this location there is a file available, means a user, a browser, a party can access one file. The name of the file is course.php. So, the course.php can be accessed by means of this URL, and here another thing is that from which machine that this file can be accessed. So, the middle part, that is nptel.ac.in indicates that in which server this file is located, and then if this file and this server is identified, then there definitely what type of protocol transmission should be followed in order to get access of this file into your own machine. So, here therefore, the protocol, the server name, and sometimes the server name should be associated with port number also. For example, nptel.ac.in and then colon and the port number say 5050, that also can be specified. If no port number is mentioned, then by default the port number will be considered as a -1. So, this is the default standard, and like this one. And then finally, the last component is the actual document, precisely state the document, like say if you say that test.java. So, this is the file that we can have and then we can access it. So, it is like this. So, this way the URL basically imply it. Now, whenever we can define a class, so a URL basically this is an object, as you see. So, this is basically an object, and we can say that URL object. That means URL consists of so many information. What is the protocol, what is the name of the server, what is the file name, or maybe, so this is the name of the server that we can understand, but in lieu of this one, the server name can be also uniquely identified by IP address, say 155.18.20.31. So, that is also this one. So, logical address is there. So, it is hidden there, and there may be one machine, that proxy, we can say proxy has the mapping that if this is the name, domain name or the server name, then corresponding this which is the IP address. So, there is a table maintained for every network, there is a proxy machine which basically includes everything. If this is the domain name, then what is the IP address, like this one. So, this is a very important one concept about regarding the location or precisely specifying the machine that is there. So, this basically the URL location, and the URL class is basically has many other constructors as well as method is there. Okay, so the methods those are there in URL. There are few more methods also, but I have mentioned only those are most important methods are there. Get protocol, get host, that is the name of the host, and then get port, get file, and then open connection like this one. So, I have already mentioned about the URL. So, if it is URL object is given to you, and then you can get all those information from there. And so, this is an example you can understand. This is a very pretty simple example. So, you can create an URL object like this one, sending this information, and then from this URL class and using this get protocol method that we have already discussed, we can have all the information related to this object. So, this is a simple example. If you can run it, you can get an idea. So, instead of any other URL, you can mention any URL of your own, and you can find the execution of this thing, you can understand about this one. And so, this is the URL, and then the next class is called the URL class, URL connection class. It has the two methods, mainly the open connection and get input stream, and this open connection is basically to establish a connection from one machine to another machine, from the current socket to the distant socket like, and then get input stream basically how the data can be read from the distant socket or from the another socket to this current socket. So, this is the two methods usually very much useful. There are some other methods also, those are very much essential, right, but those are the methods we will be referring here, we have mentioned here only, and this is an example that you can check it quickly. And so, this is basically URL object is created, and then we just make a connection, and this is the method by which we can make the connection. So, this name of the connection again is an object, everything in Java created as an object. So, URL connection, and then once the connection is there, then we can create a stream, and that stream is basically get input stream for this URL connection. That means, if this is the machine and we can connect this another machine like, right, from so this is basically the distance machine. So, this machine address is this one, it is your own program, from here I am running this one. So, this one, and then from there I am get input stream means I am reading the data from this machine. So, this is the idea about it here, that, and then we can start reading this data in the stream, so long the end of file is covered, that means entire file will be read from the distance machine and will be stored into the local machine like. So, this is a very simple example that explain this concept, that how the URL connection can be utilized to fetch data from the distance machine through the communication. Now, HTTP URL connection is very similar to URL connection only, but only in this case the protocol that it should follow HTTP protocol only, and here the different methods that is included in the HTTP URL connection. There huge number of methods are there, but I have mentioned only two methods. Other methods you can obtain from the core Java material tutorial that is there. Now, let us come to the example here. As you see, so this is the URL connection URL objects, and this basically the idea about how the HTTP URL connection can be established, and once this connection is established, rest of the things is same as the previous one. So, this is the idea about. So, only this basically make the distinguish the simple communication or the URL HTTP communication like. And INET address also similar to the URL address, but it has the different way, the internet address related composition. So, is basically IP, port, everything can be there, it can be understood. As we have seen, these are the different methods, is very similar to a URL like, the different methods are there by which you can access the different information related to the different connection of a connection about a different connection. And here is another example that we can see. So, INET address just like a similar URL, this is basically the URL we can say I have specified, and get by name and INET address. So, IP is basically the INET address in this case. Once this INET address is there, then we can have the different method, get host name, get host localhost, and everything of this method, and then we can obtain the different information. The concept is very similar to the URL connection, and the idea it is like this. And here is an example that you can run this program. Now, I will come to the communication. So, using the sockets basically, and there are two type of sockets, there are the three sockets, datagram sockets, server socket and socket only. So, datagram socket is basically follow the UDP protocol, and the different methods those are defined there in datagram sockets. These are the basically constructor by which a socket can be created actually. There are different constructor, means I can either you can mention the port number, or you can mention the port number as well as INET address, or you cannot mention anything. So, this socket is basically if you want to communicate within the same local host, that means maybe that okay, within the same machine, like one machine can be connected by the two users. So, it is basically shared machine is shared from, and then that protocol can be followed, but here if the distance machine from this machine A to another machine B, and it is also distance machine, but if you know the INET address clearly. So, these are the different I mean constructor, those are useful for the datagram socket like, and these are the methods: get address, get port, and then get data and get length. Get data is very important in order to get the data, I mean fetching the data from the machine to that machine here. And this example is very easy to understand and very simple example I have planned for you. So, in this example, as we see datagram sockets DS object is created, and here we have to mention the port, that is the port number which, and this machine, this example is basically in the same machine how it can be shared the documents actually. So, the idea it is that you can run the two programs, socket programs. So, that means two different threads are there, and that two threads is just you can simulate that okay, this is the one party and this is the another party like. So, one party is called the receiver, another party is called the sender, and this is the receiver socket and this is the sender sockets. Idea is very simple. First you have to create a datagram socket objects as you have created here, and then to do this thing I have mentioned here port number. So, port number should be same as these two machines, these two programs should run in the same machine. So, for both server and receiver and sender, it has the same port number, and then here you just create a datagram packet. So, datagram sockets and datagram packets are basically to see that whatever the message that you want to communicate, how the entire message can be created into a number of packets. A packets may be of 64 bytes as I have told you. So, this object will do these things for you. The entire buffer if you give it, then this DP will create the packets that needs to be transmitted from one party to another here, and then once it is there, then this basically dp dot get data can be converted in the string, and the same string can be transmitted by this method. So, receive dot dp, that means it basically receive packets that can be sent, that has been sent by some machine, and it will receive, and then after receiving this packet dp, it will basically process. That means you can process, store, or you can display whatever it is there. So, this is so far the receiving is concerned, and now here is basically sending. As you know the sending here, so suppose I want to send only this text, welcome to NPTEL. So, first I have to create a datagram socket DS, as you have to send in the same machine. So, port number is basically same thing that you can do, otherwise you can do not use anything also. And then this is the message that I want to send. It is very small message of course in this case, but actually it can be very large file. In that case I can mention that this is a file that you have to store, but using say file input stream, the file can be converted in the stream format, and that stream can be ported into the datagram like. And then this is the IP address from where you have to send it. Now, here is the one thing is that for it is a default that if the same machine it will always assign one IP address, that it is this one 127.0.01, it is the standard default only. So, this is the default IP address if you have to communicate within the same machine only, and then the datagram packet that will be transmitted about this string. So, it is a string we convert in the datagram packet, and then we send this datagram packet to this port, and then is basically sent. So, the datagram packet has been ready with its destination address and everything, and therefore sent. So, this way the sender will send, it will go to the receiver, receiver will receive, and then it will be processed. So, this is basically the communication between the two parties which are basically using the same port, we can say same port in the sense that they are the same machine. Now, so another is the class server sockets. This has the few constructor as we have mentioned here, again the port, the INET address, and then time that needs to be queued, and so many things are the basic information that needs to be provided in order to create the object. As I have already mentioned you, the server socket is basically the program that basically is suitable for maintaining one machine as a server. That means this machine may be connected with many clients, those are either in the same or same system or maybe in the remote systems, whatever it is there. And so, idea it is like this. So, server socket is there, and the constructor these are the constructor. There are many more methods are there. I have mentioned few methods here. I have mentioned few methods, those are very important here. For example, getting the information about the port and connecting the accepting a communication connection, and then how much time that it should wait to listen to others. Those are the different information which basically can be maintained by and then can be obtained from this method for a server socket object like. And then class sockets very similar to this server socket itself, only the thing is that socket can be used to represent a client machine. So, that is why, and it has the different constructor as I have mentioned here, and in addition to these constructors there are many other methods also involved. So, these are the methods very similar to the server sockets, and then I will quickly conclude this presentation with more few examples, 2-3 examples I will give it. So, simple client server example, I have already given an idea about the sender and receiver. It is very similar tune only. How this program basically explain how one machine can be made as server, another machine can be made as a client. So, here basically the server socket to be created, and here the socket is created. Once it is created, is basically by means of get input stream it will read it, and by means of get output stream then it will basically send it. So, these are the two concepts by which the communication can be established. So, this is the idea about the communication here. Now, this server as we see in this program we have created a socket as a SS and server socket SS also. Now, here SS this basically we create SS dot accept means the server accepts any response that is basically made by any request that is made by a client, so that it will accept. And then the data input stream is a class by which it will read data from the client actually. So, it is the right S is the socket program in the client, and SS is the socket program in the server in this case, and then it will basically send, and finally, when the message receiving is complete. So, it is basically closed. So, this is the idea it is there. And then once it is this is a server program, and similarly the client program it looks like. So, this is the client program, and in this client program we create a socket program here. So, S is the socket objects, and then data output stream, because here client will send some data to the server, and this is the message that the client supposed to send it, and that basically message will be transmitted, will be sent to the net, and then it will go to the sockets, and then this one, and here is the port number. This port number should be the port number of the server to which it wants to communicate actually, and it should be same is in case of both server and then socket. As we see here, the port number that we have used here is basically 666 also, it is basically in the server. Now, so this is the idea about that here in this particular example how a client machine can send a document to server, and then server can receive it and process it. And our next example is basically to give the dialogue, that means client will send something, server will respond to that, again client will send something, server will respond to that. This is called the dialogue process, and this is again simple program to understand this concept. And here is basically the server is basically this is the server, and then server has the server sockets, and this basically accept, and this is basically input output mechanism, that is read from the client, write to the client like this one. So, for which the data input and data output stream D in and D out has been created, and then it will be for reading if the large message needs to be read. So, better to buffer reader should be used. So, it is a buffer reader, and from the buffer reader it basically is reading, and whenever there is a message that from the client that is a stop, then it will close the service, then server will stop it there. So, this is the server side program, is very simple program actually as we see. and you can understand easily. Just okay, you have to remember the input output stream once we have discussed about the IO stream concept like, and this is the client side program. In this client side the same port number it should use. So, it is a socket and the localhost means is a local actually in the same machine. So, in the same machine two programs will run. So, it is quite possible multiple program can be executed in the same machine. Java allows these things very heavily. So, it will there, and then data, this is basically input output, that means client will send something, client will receive something from the server. So, this one again the buffer will be there to read the network line actually channel, and then this is the communication continue until the server wants to continue it there. So, this is the idea about the dialog client server. As we have seen, it is basically dialogue between the two machines, and this is the one example here. In the last example we have considered that in the same machine, but in this example if the two distance machines are there. So, obviously, you should know exactly what is the IP address of the distance machine. The program is very similar to the previous one, only the difference is that we have to explicitly mention the IP address, and then this is the port number and the number of client that it can support in this case. So, this is the only change in the server program, otherwise everything remains same. The client program particularly is the same program as it is earlier one. So, this is the client program already we have discussed, and you can run it, we can simulate it in the same machine or in a distance machine also, the output that you can obtain, and then again the communication, dialogue, chat and everything whatever you want to do you can do that. So, this is basically the remote communication between the two machines, and then concurrent server is basically one server can process more than one client at a time. So, it is called the concurrent server. In this case the threads to be maintained, and there should be some method should be by which the client client can be handled like. So, here again this is an example. So, this basically creating the server as a socket, and for the server socket we accept any client that it send a request, and so this is the same thing as earlier. And then the next thing is basically here is the thread that we have to create it, and for this thread this is the one simple intermediate procedure about input output stream that needs to be created, and we create a thread here as you see, because you have to establish a thread there, and this basically so thread is basically here the implementation of thread method. In the last example we created thread actually. Here. So, here we see we create a thread here. So, a server is a thread, it will run for so long, and the thread needs to be handled by the client handle by means of input stream and output stream, those are the things to be mentioned there. So, this basically create a thread. So, in this case the server is a thread and we start the thread. Once the thread is started, we have to define the thread, and thread define means all the method you have to define it here, and the run method is basically define the thread, how the thread needs to be run actually. And here is the server next part of the server, that means we just continuation of this one, while is basically this is a infinite execution while it is true like. So, until you do not disconnect the connection it will continue this one, and then it will receive the message, send the message, all these things will carried out in a synchronized manner actually. So, that program is like this, so that concurrently, that means this basically constantly attending on client request. If it is there, once it is there it responds immediately, for which the thread is basically meant for that. And here this is the continuation of this program, and the client program as usual the similar one, absolutely there is no same different, it is basically same. We have to make this connection as a 5056 is the port number of the server itself, and then input output stream for the dialog communication if you want to maintain. Then it basically then any other protocol, say maybe say here we are using the IP INET address, basically TCP IP protocol, but you can mention the datagram protocol DP and you can use it. So, in that case a message needs to be first packeted using the datagram packets, and it can be sent here. So, this is the idea about the concurrent servers both in the client side and then server sides, and this basically explain the different mechanism by which the communication can be done. And as in the class of learning, right. So, we are basically learning how the communication can be written using Java program. So, that is the only focus we have. Now, in our next we will discuss the some demonstration of this program, so that you can see exactly how they run and then how they can execute and then how they can see the result actually. So, we will discuss about the demonstration of this program in our next module, that will give an idea about how we can implement all these programs and then you can execute it and you can see the output. Thank you very much.